In the middle of a war, a banker offers you his gold necklace in exchange for just 3 lighters, because at that moment, it isn't gold that means life, it's fire. In 1993, that necklace was worth 2 months' salary. But in a city with no running water, no electricity, and no food distribution, gold became nothing more than a shiny metal. Fire became life, for cooking, for warmth, and for boiling water to avoid disease. This isn't fiction. It really happened. Selko Begovic, a man who survived the siege for over a year, documented it. The first illusion, gold saves you. Selko watched people with gold starve while people with useful skills and tools survived. Conventional prepping wisdom says, stack gold and silver. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. I've said it myself, but when we forensically examine what actually happens during total economic collapse, not theory, but documented reality, gold ranks far below something else entirely: land, skills, tools, community. The Amish hedge. By the end of this breakdown, you'll understand why a $1,000 investment in practical goods and skills will save your family, when $10,000 in gold bullion won't. Let me show you the pattern. Pattern 1. Currency collapses faster than anyone expects. This has happened repeatedly, across multiple countries, and the data tells the same story every time. In Bosnia, the transition from a functioning money-based economy to pure barter took months, not years. Selko recorded that people tried to keep using money in the early days, but within weeks, prices multiplied by factors of 20, 30, even 100. A pack of cigarettes that cost 1.5 German marks outside the war zone cost 40 marks inside. In Venezuela, inflation exceeded 1,000,000% after 2016. The bolivar became so worthless that people jokingly called it the bolivar muerto, the dead bolivar. The government responded by removing high-denomination bills and giving citizens 72 hours to exchange currency that was being declared illegal. 72 hours. Imagine that. 3 days to convert your life savings before the government declares it worthless paper. Argentina, 1998 to 2002. The economy contracted 28%. Over half the population fell below the poverty line. Those who held savings in pesos were wiped out. Same stages. Same pattern. Same outcome. Pattern 2. Collapse forces barter. Utility is everything. When currency fails, economies revert to barter. In Venezuela today, fishermen in Patanimo trade fish for rice, bananas, and plantains brought on foot from nearby towns. One fisherman said it plainly, money doesn't buy anything. It's better for people to bring food so we can give them fish. Farmers travel hundreds of kilometers to Caracas carrying 200 bananas, 30 kilos of yams, 30 kilos of cassava, and 40 kilos of lemons, not to sell for cash, but to trade directly for flour, rice, or pasta. In coffee-growing regions, hardware stores accept coffee beans as payment. 3 100-kilo sacks of coffee trade for 200 liters of gasoline. Coffee became currency because it's standardized, consumable, and useful. This is economic reversion. Modern collapse pushes societies back to pre-industrial barter, and in that environment, gold is useless. You can't eat it, you can't burn it for heat, you can't purify water or treat an infected wound with it, but the person who can grow food, repair a pump, or stockpile antibiotics survives. Pattern 3. The Great Depression proved land and skills win. During the Great Depression, farmers struggled. Crop prices collapsed. Some even burned corn as fuel because it was cheaper than coal. But farmers with productive land had one irreplaceable advantage: they could feed themselves. Documented accounts from rural Iowa show farm families growing large gardens, canning fruit, producing milk and cream, raising chickens for eggs and meat, baking bread from bulk flour, and sewing clothes from feed and flour sacks. Zero cash income. They survived anyway. Urban families weren't so lucky. In Dubuque, Iowa, 2,200 workers lost their jobs between 1927 and 1934. Even those who kept wages, cut by 30% nominally, faced hunger because they had no productive capacity. One commenter said it perfectly: "My grandfather survived the Great Depression because he had a small 4-acre farm, carpentry skills, and painting skills. Not gold, not savings, land and skills." Pattern 4. Skills become survival capital. Depression-era survival strategies read like a catalog of production. People caught and sold fish, made fudge, grew berries, ran lunch wagons, shoveled snow, wove baskets, quilted, mended clothes, washed windows, rendered lard, butchered animals, and canned food. Every single one involved producing something of tangible value: food, clothing, shelter-related services, A person who could slaughter animals, smoke meat, or can vegetables had income-generating skills no collapse could erase. Doctors, nurses, and dentists remained employed, even when money failed. People paid them with goods and services. Here's what gold critics miss. A skilled carpenter is an asset you can't store in a vault. The value lives inside the person. Gold just sits there. Pattern 5. What actually trades in total collapse? Selko documented what held real value when currency died. Ammunition ranked high, but he warned against trading it freely. Anything you sell as a weapon may be used on you tomorrow. Hygiene items were extremely valuable. Bleach could purify hundreds of gallons of water. Soap, toothpaste, and feminine hygiene products traded at massive premiums. A 50-cent bar of soap traded for a dozen eggs during the siege. Medicine was priceless. Antibiotics, painkillers, first aid supplies. Many people died simply because they couldn't access basic drugs. And then the insight that changes everything. Selko recommends 1000 Bic lighters instead of a generator. Generators are loud, fuel-hungry, maintenance-heavy, and attract thieves. Lighters are silent, portable, cheap, redundant, and refillable. Selko refilled disposable lighters from a propane tank and traded them for food and necessities. Fire meant survival. Gold and jewelry, meanwhile, held terrible value during the crisis itself. Warlords took precious metals at soup value, knowing they'd only matter after stability returned. Pattern 6. Venezuela is real-time proof this isn't history. It's happening now. One woman, Keila Oval, grows eggplant, tomatoes, and passion fruit in her backyard specifically for barter. She says it mirrors how her family lived in the early 1900s. A fisherman in Padanimo said, "I haven't been to the city center in almost 2 years. I'm better off swapping things to survive." In Zimbabwe's collapse, black market medicine exploded. A dose of amoxicillin could be worth weeks of wages. A bottle of antibiotics can mean life or death. A pound of silver can't. Pattern 7. Community is the hidden asset. Meta-analyses of 148 studies involving 308,849 people found that strong social relationships increase survival odds by 50%, comparable to quitting smoking. Selko noted that nearly all trades happen privately, through trusted relationships formed before the war. When institutions fail, trust becomes infrastructure. Communities in Venezuela organized food sharing. Communities in Bosnia coordinated security and resource allocation. One of you said it best, community is what's missing from most survival strategies. Social capital is survival capital. Pattern 8. Why gold fails as collapse insurance. Gold produces no income and meets no immediate survival need. Food feeds you. Tools let you produce. Skills generate services. Gold only works if someone wants it, and during early collapse, they don't. Gold may regain value after stabilization, but those holding only gold suffer through the crisis without income or food. During the 2008 to 2009 crisis, farmland rose 17%. SP 500 fell 46%. Gold initially declined. Farmland volatility from 1992 to 2020 averaged 6.84%, less than half the SP 500 and far lower than gold. During high inflation, farmland returned over 14.6% annually, not theory. Historical fact. The Amish hedge. What actually works? 1. Productive land, even small gardens. 2. Practical skills. 3. Useful goods with shelf life. 4. Strong community networks. 5. Precious metals. Only after the first 4. Gold is optionality, not survival. The question is whether you'll position yourself before you're forced to. Drop a helicopter if you're already preparing. Tell me what you want me to dig into next. Some of you are already there. One comment. My grandparents survived because they had land and skills. Another. We put everything into precious metals. That's a start, but balance all 5 elements. Otherwise, you'll be standing in line wondering why bread costs 200 billion marks, while the person next to you trades eggs for a loaf. Now go diversify before you have no choice.